What is up YouTube, James Baek here, welcome back to another episode of VGC 2019 Baek Battles. Today we are using the Reshiram team once again with Reshiram, Tapu Koko, Groudon, Venusaur, Scrafty, and Stakataka. If you haven't checked out the previous episodes, I highly recommend go checking them out. And of course, if you do want to see this team on the global link, potentially with a QR code, be sure to hit that like button, especially if you enjoy the episodes. Because if we do hit that like goal of 175 likes for this video and all the other videos we use this Reshiram team, within 2 weeks of the final episode being uploaded, we will have a QR code of this team available to everyone. Otherwise, you can feel free to try out the team with the paste bin down below in the description. But yeah, let's get started and play some games. Reshiram doing some damage. I do really wish Reshiram was base 100. Reshiram was base 100. Oh man, the fun Reshiram would have. Reshiram would definitely move up in my opinion. If Reshiram Zekrom were base 100, you know, outspeeding Kyogre 1 with Zekrom would be amazing. But and obviously the Xerneas, but outspeeding Xerneas, outspeeding Lunala, outspeeding those threats, I feel like it would give Reshiram and Zekrom that push that they need. Yeah, and there's something really weird on my computer screen. So, okay, no. It's like a really weird line, but I think it's okay. I thought it was like a giant hair for some reason. It's just a really weird line. As we got, I'm not gonna try to pronounce that, from the United Kingdom. It looks like it looks like the standard Groudon Venusaur team with Talonflame, Tapu Koko, and Sinnoh and Xerneas. So hard to say what I really like here, because I really do like my Groudon, I like my Venusaur, I like Tapu Koko quite a bit, I like Reshiram. Talonflame's a little bit of an annoying Pokemon. The Z move is pretty threatening to my team, especially since I don't think I'm bringing Scrafty in this matchup. While Scrafty can do decent, I don't think it's really that helpful here. Stakataka would be really good against my opponent's team if there was no Groudon. So I mean, theoretically, I could also just go like Reshiram, Stakataka lead, which might be good if I can do some off testing. But since I'm really not comfortable with that lead, especially since I don't know what my opponent would really lead here, because it's like up in the air for me, I think I'm just gonna lead my Reshiram plus. I think Reshiram plus. The question is if it's timid on the. Here's the thing about these Xerneas teams. I really want to lead Lele so I can deny Geomancy, but in this case I kind of really want to lead Venusaur. But if you're a timid Xerneas, I basically get screwed over, so because he would just be able to Geomancy, probably just getting Tapu Koko. I'm not in a good position, so I think I'm forced to lead Lele here, which is kind of unfortunate because it kind of narrows down like what I have and creates more work for me, because if I get the lead wrong, it's not exactly too helpful, especially if you lead, let's say, I don't know, Talonflame plus Xerneas. You could always go for the Z move. The Groudon Talonflame actually gonna lead here. Okay. Gonna lead my Reshiram plus Tapu Koko here. I can go for the Z move into the Groudon, or I could Tailwind here. It really just depends. Do I think my opponent expects a Z move? Because I could go for, okay, so the plays I'm looking at right here from my opponent, you switch into Tapu Koko Z move my Lele or Reshiram. I think it would Z move my Lele because I don't think it would knock out Reshiram for the knockout. Protect Tailwind or Precipice Blades Tailwind. Those are the three plays that I'm seeing here. I don't think you want to take a Z move into the Groudon slot ever. I really kind of want to throw out the Z move, but I don't think it's worth it for me. I think it's better just to go for the Psyshock here and Tailwind. Let's see if you do actually carry the. If you go for the Precipice Blades immediately. If you go for the Precipice Blades immediately, that's really bad for me, but I guess it's not the worst because I'd get to go into like my Venusaur, for instance, and maybe go attempt for a Sleep Powder. It's still very questionable here because I could go for the Z move to knock out the Groudon right away, but thankfully my opponent doesn't go for it, so we'll go for the Protect here as Brave Bird. You forgot about Psychic Terrain, my friend. Yeah, that was an option. You couldn't go for a Z move or that, so that's really helps here as I'm gonna get Tailwind up. Talonflame no longer has Gale Wings available to it, so now I can go for Heat Wave plus Psyshock in the Groudon. I don't know if that picks up the knockout. I don't want to risk that. I pretty much just get a nuke here with Inferno Overdrive, or I get like, I don't know, maybe 60% in Sinnoh, so I'm just gonna Psyshock and go for the Z move. That was unfortunately the worst possible thing that my opponent could have went for. Uh, Even a Flare Blitz and a Lele might have been more beneficial here, but gonna stay in with both Pokemon. I'm gonna be able to get the Psyshock into Talonflame, which does pick up the knockout, and then I get the Z move into Groudon, and yeah, that's really not good for my opponent. So we'll go for the Inferno Overdrive here. We'll target down the Groudon, and it just doesn't knock out. I'm gonna be very disappointed in Reshiram because, like, even if this is a specially defensive Groudon, which is kind of what I'm thinking it is Inferno Overdrive in the Sun off a really powerful move, Blue Flare. So please knock out the Groudon. Yeah, it does. It just nukes the Groudon. So okay, we're up 4-2. If Venusaur comes in, I think I'm just gonna click Psyshock and Heat Wave. Yeah, because I'm not too worried about Xerneas if there are no supporters with it. And by supporters, I mean basically the number of Pokemon I have to deal with, other than the Xerneas, are basically gone. One of the things that makes Xerneas scary is obviously its ability setup, but of course if the partners around it can have, you know, free attacks to do while you're trying to focus that Xerneas, which is like obviously something that's super scary about Xerneas. But since if there is a Xerneas in the back, it's not as scary now because I reduced the number of threats alongside it. So we're going to see that Venusaur plus the Xerneas come out, and I don't see a reason not to just throw off a Heat Wave plus a Psyshock in the Venusaur, because a Heat Wave Psyshock will knock out a Focus Sash Venusaur. Even a Xerneas Geomancies is taking like 60% and is in range of a Psyshock anyway, so yeah. No matter what, I feel like I'm still in a good position, and we're not even going to see my opponent try to make the read. I thought you had to try to make the read there, so unless you want to go for the double Heat Wave miss, which this is the one thing I just don't want. Don't rush her, just hit one. Okay, nice. We hit both, so that's game. Oh, that did less than the Xerneas than I thought. That's bulky, I think. But it doesn't matter. My Venusaur basically cleans up if I get one more Psyshock, and yeah, there's nothing my opponent can really do about that. So we are going to see a Geomancy here. Also, my Groudon is a Moonblast, unless it's a Modest Max Special Attack Xerneas, and then it's a Roll-On Groudon regardless, and you have to go for Moonblast, so I get another attack with my other Pokemon, even if Groudon goes down. So right here, I get to go for, I guess if you Dazzling Gleam crit, like that's what you go for at this rate. But yeah, I think that turn one was just too big in my favor. Or I don't know if single target Heat Wave knocks it out, so I'll just go for the Blue Flare. A Psyshock will come out into the Xerneas, not even protecting, just stall out the Tailwind. As we are going to get a Psyshock and just knock out the Xerneas, and we just 4-0 with Reshiram plus Tapu Koko. We didn't even take a hit. We literally didn't even take a hit, but yeah, there's not much I could say. I think at least I got the read right, and even if my opponent got Tailwind up, it wasn't the worst thing in the world, I think, for me. But the fact that my opponent didn't get Tailwind up, I was able to break the Gale Wings and also get my own Tailwind up, basically just put me in such a huge advantage. It would have been really hard to see me not come back in the game. Maybe my opponent could have sacked the Venusaur's Focus Sash to take the Z move, so Groudon could have been more of a threat later in the game. But even then, I just start clicking Heat Wave and I get a bunch of damage off, and Psyshock is still doing a bunch of damage, and you wouldn't have been able to get your speed control up. Well, you would have gotten speed control up if you went for Tailwind, and that's kind of what that's one of the scenarios that could have happened. But of course, since my opponent didn't, I was just able to run through. remember Raber priority, Lele Psychic Terrain. Okay. But yeah, otherwise Reshiram just doing really well, just able to nuke the Groudon, which was so important. I really love that ability to nuke a especially defensive Groudon without having to rely on, you know, like getting Kyogre in for the correct Weather War, which is super nice about this team. And yeah, the fact that Groudon does power up my Reshiram, so that was nice overall. I also want to look at Psyshock because I don't know how much Psyshock normally does in Talonflame, but if it's a roll to KO and if it's in my favor, I do want to start going for Psyshock more than Tapu Koko. I mean, into Talonflames, I think. Yeah, it might be a potential option, but it's taking a while to find our second game, so I think we're just going to cut it out here. We'll be right back with the second game of today's episode. Alright, we got our next opponent from Japan, 1585 rating, I believe. Another Xerneas Groudon. I don't get why we're facing so many of the same archetypes, but you got a Tapu Koko instead of a Talonflame, which makes this a bit more different because of the fact that I don't have to deal with a Talonflame, which is nice, because Talonflame is a big threat to my team. But that extra terrain can always hurt. Venusaur is also really annoying to handle, so... Oh boy, we're gonna go Reshiram, we're gonna go Tapu Lele, we're gonna go Groudon, we're gonna go Venusaur. You all know the drill here. Again, I'm actually surprised we haven't encountered this situation yet, but luckily we haven't faced a Venusaur, I believe, that just clicks Sleep Powder and Lead immediately, so that's always nice. So I hope we can continue with that trend, because if they do click Sleep Powder, that's kind of difficult to deal with. But yeah, I could have also brought Stack Attack in this game. Again, Stack Attack might actually be better in this game since there is no Talonflame, but there is a Tapu Koko, so I can't really say that for a fact. I also wonder where the Z move is on this team. It's probably on the Tapu Koko, you want to imagine, probably the Electrium Z, which is pretty staple. So the Stack Attack won't exactly have the best time there. So yeah, I think overall, I think that Tailwind offense mode is better, especially since my opponent might be more inclined since there's no Talonflame lead. Maybe you lead Groudon, Venusaur, or you're gonna lead I try this up as Xerneas mode. So let's see what my opponent decides to do here. Maybe Tapu Koko and Incineroar. I guess I could see that lead. That could actually be kind of frustrating. We're gonna see the Tapu Koko plus Venusaur lead instead, huh? Against my Reshiram plus Tapu Lele. Okay. What if I Magic Room and Tailwind here? Because you can Sleep Powder my Reshiram, which is super good for me. I could ooh, I actually really like that play. I really like that play actually, and I'm gonna go for it. I don't see a reason not to. The reason I'm gonna go for Tailwind plus Magic Room is because 1, I deny Xerneas future Geomancy setup. 2, I get rid of the Sash on Venusaur potentially, and that allows Heat Wave just to knock it out. 3, if I get Tailwind up and Lele goes down to Sludge Bomb or Electrium Z, I get free Heat Waves off in the sun against my opponent. My opponent doesn't have good switches to Heat Waves, including Precipice Blades. So yeah, I really like that play. We just threaten so much if we get the Magic Room off. And this electric terrain gonna be useful to me. So we're gonna see Venusaur Protect, that's fine, because I don't have a reason to target here. As we will go for our Magic Room right here. And we're going to see a Volt Switch. Okay. So gonna be in the Reshiram actually, so even my Lele doesn't take too much. Wow, that was actually a really weak switch. That might be a Salt Vest Tapu Koko. It just didn't seem like, I just feel like that Volt Switch did a little less than I thought. Here comes the Incineroar coming in, which is completely fine. Because once I get the free switch into Groudon, that's great. A Heat Wave still threatening the Venusaur slot. I might as well just go for Heat Wave Psyshock here. Don't see a reason not to. Because if I go for Heat Wave into Psyshock into the Venusaur slot, I guarantee a knockout in the Venusaur slot. You can fake out 1, that's fine. I guess if you have Snarl, it makes this a bit more interesting. But yeah, since there's if you have Venusaur and Mash, you have Groudon in the back. But maybe you didn't bring Groudon. Maybe you brought Xerneas instead. I still don't see a reason not to just double up the Venusaur slot. I get damage regardless. And a knockout into the Venusaur slot potentially, since it doesn't have a Focus Sash intact right now. So yeah, and every bit of damage in Incineroar is actually really useful, as well as no fake outs, no protects, or no switch outs. So we're just gonna get a Psyshock off into Venusaur, knock out the Venusaur, and a Heat Wave in Incineroar. I wonder my opponent's trying to set up for that Xerneas sweep. We will get a Heat Wave off into the Incineroar, which is good. But you can't even set up for Xerneas correctly because of the fact that I do have... Yeah, you can't even set up for the Xerneas realistically because you don't have a power up right now. So Snarl, which is fine. Groudon's going to come in, okay. Am I willing to go for Moonblast Blue Flare? Because that's kind of the play I kind of want to go for into the Groudon slot because I don't see a reason not to. Because it probably should pick up the knockout. And even if it doesn't, it puts it in range of Venusaur or Grass Knot. Yeah, I think that's fine. Like, at this point, I think Groudon Venusaur wins if I just get chip into the Groudon slot. And I don't want the Groudon to get a sub or Swords Dance off if it goes for it. So, yeah, I'd rather go for this play. Even if I attack and protect, I don't think it's the worst case situation for me. But I'm going to protect smart because that does prevent the worst case situation here, which would have been me knocking out the Groudon here. But, again, I think I'm in a fine spot regardless. Do I want to Moonblast the... Do I want to Moonblast the Incineroar the following turn? Or do I just want to Moonblast the Groudon? Because I do want to chip in the Incineroar just in case it's not in Precipice Blades range. The dangerous part about, I guess, this endgame is do I hit Precipice Blades, which is like the one negative side. But I mean, I should be able to have this game. Because we get a Inferno Overdrive in the sun. We crit it through Protect, which is unfortunate for my opponent. And, oh, it's a U-turn instead. Not a Snarl. Huh. Okay. Tapu Koko gets to come back in. I mean, I already put the Groudon in range where it's supposed to be. I really don't mind if I get knocked out with both Pokemon here. I think I'll just go for a Blue Flare and a Moonblast here into the... but Groudon protected. But it might be inclined to switch in Incineroar, which is what I'm thinking. If I switch in Incineroar, no, I rather double up. No, I always double up the Groudon slot. The reason I double up the Groudon slot is if the Groudon attacks, and let's say Tapu Koko protects, I'd be forced to get in my Groudon, and then my opponent can go for the switch to Incineroar and intimidate my Groudon, which means I can't knock out the Incineroar, and you can Flare Blitz my Venusaur after. So I always target on the Groudon here regardless. We go for the Moonblast in the Groudon. Let's see. Blue Flare. We do connect with the Groudon. That should be a knockout. That should be game. Yeah, even a crit Grass Knot won't knock me out. And we get to go for a lot of things here. Sun's gonna wear out too. So Tapu Koko's not Assault Vest. Is that Volt Switch just a timid Volt Switch? Because that was just so weak. In case it's Sash on the Tapu Koko, I always click Heat Wave and Moonblast into it. Yeah. I could also Tailwind up. Yeah, Tailwind is fine. You're probably just going to fake out my Reshiram and go for an attack here. Because we'll go for the Heat Wave and Blast into the Tapu Koko. Because Magic Room is going to end, so... Although it should be Sash on the Venusaur instead. So Tapu Koko probably doesn't have Sash, but just in case. We are able to pick up a win there. I think overall... the crit was unfortunate for my opponent, but again, I think I still had the win con, like, precisely where I wanted to be. Where I was just going to be able to threaten a lot of damage regardless. That Magic Room's very, very useful in this game because getting rid of Venusaur Sash, getting rid of the berries, super useful. It kept my opponent's team low. It could have backfired on me, of course, if the Incineroar was able to get a Flare Blitz into my Venusaur, but since I was able to knock out my opponent's Venusaur like so quickly in the game, I was able to get rid of the biggest threat to my Groudon, because I think Groudon was going to be able to win that game at that point since Venusaur didn't switch into Incineroar immediately. So yeah, we are able to pick up a win, which is really nice, and we'll see if we can continue on and maybe pick up a third win for this episode. But yeah, I think overall Magic Room is being super useful in that game. There was no Xerneas to deal with, which was nice, but if Xerneas came in, it wouldn't have done that much anyway because of the fact that, one, I had a Venusaur in the back, two, didn't have a Power Herb option, or if it I guess if it decided to go for late game, but like I would have probably had a lot of opportunities just to damage the Xerneas. We're gonna fight a Kyogre Lunala team. This matchup looks so difficult actually. Lunala, Kyogre, Ludicolo, Incineroar, Kartana, and Stakataka. Okay. I wonder if Reshiram's actually useful in this game, because like Reshiram can be useful and can difficult too. Venusaur is not bad, but I kind of don't like it. It can't hit the Kartana. I don't like Lele here, that's for sure. Lele doesn't do much here. It actually hurts me because it boosts the power of the Lunala. I gotta pick between the four. I think I like Reshiram quite a bit because Z-move threatens a lot actually. And Heat Wave just does a good amount of damage regardless. I also kind of like Stakataka here. Actually, do I like Stakataka? Not really. It doesn't really do much. I was thinking I could get Trick Room up, but I don't know my opponent's a Trick Room or a Tailwind team, or maybe it's a mixed team. So I think I'll go Reshiram Scrafty as a lead. I think Venusaur is actually useful in the back with Groudon. I gotta be a little bit cautious of the Kartana, because Kartana is definitely the scariest Pokemon, I think. And Kyogre, obviously, if I don't win the Weather War, but I think the scariest Pokemon to deal with is that Kartana, because that Kartana, if I lose Reshiram early, I don't have the best ways to hit it, especially since I have low kick on my Crafty. It's definitely going to be a troublesome Pokemon. So we'll see if my opponent actually brings it number 1, but definitely something super scary. So we see Lunala and Incineroar lead, which is actually really good for me, as I'll be able to threaten a lot with my Scrafty. Wish I had Snarl over Roar sometimes, because I think Snarl would actually be a really good addition to my Scrafty. Turbo Blaze, we're going to see the Intimidate come out. I think overall I just want to go for the Heat Wave and knock off into Lunala. I don't think you Z-move immediately. I could see Incineroar going for the U-turn. Maybe you want to trade Fake Out. Would you Fake Out my Reshiram? Probably, because if I don't Fake Out your Incineroar, I'm probably just going to target down Lunala, so you could go for that Fake Out. I don't know if Fake Out puts me in the Z-move range. I mean, I just don't want my opponent to get too much momentum here. So I think I'd rather just go for the Heat Wave and knock off immediately. I don't really mind if my opponent gets Trick 'em Up either. Yeah, so I think I'm just going to go for the knockoff and the Heat Wave. Because we're going to see Fake Out does target down. I think my Reshiram. Oh, it targets my Scrafty. Okay. So I still break Shadow Shield, and it looks like I am either faster or my opponent's not Trick Room, which is fine. Crits the Lunala. That does seem to be bulky. Yeah, here comes the Trick Room. Which is fine. I don't really mind that too much. So now I can go for the low kick protect play, I think, and my opponent can't really capitalize too much. Like, my Scrafty is a huge threat to my opponent. My opponent can't really stop my Scrafty. I could also knock off the Incineroar, but Incineroar probably just going to go for... Oh, Incineroar's faster than Scrafty now. I guess I could go for the knockoff into the Incineroar slot. And I don't think Lunala wants to give me a free dark type attack, so I'm actually going to go for the knockoff in Incineroar, because I think Incineroar might be inclined to go for the U-turn here. Looks like Lunala didn't protect, so I could have got a knockoff, which is unfortunate for me, but let's see what my opponent decides to do. Goes for the U-turn. It does target down the Scrafty slot, which is no surprise there, so that's going to do a bit of damage. I hope this Lunala doesn't carry like a random Moonblast, because that would be really bad. It would target down my Scrafty slot, do a lot of damage, probably pick up the knockout. We're going to see Sakataka come out. Okay. I feel like this is deja vu, because I feel like I played something similar to this and it ended up being Fightium Stakataka. It's Life of Stakataka. It's just Psyshock and Reshiram. Okay. Ooh, boy. If you brought Stakataka in, there must be a reason why, right? Because, like, there's no reason for you to bring Stakataka here, I think. Especially since I don't even think it's that good against my team when I think about it. Okay. I want to scout for a random superpower, I think. If I can get rid of Stack Attack, I'm in a good position with my Scrafty, so I think I'm just going to go for the Inferno Overdrive into Stack Attack. Who do I want to switch out into? I think Venusaur, because even if I lose the Sash, it's not really too big. I was thinking maybe I could get rid of Lunala and deny the Z move, deny 1A, the potential Z move, and B, the possibility of a future Trick Room, but it's going to be a Rock Slide, so I do get that play wrong. Might be just a double up in the Reshiram, and I might just pay dearly for it. So, not exactly that great. We're going to see Psyshock does target on the Reshiram, so not good. Okay. I thought I could bring Scrafty in. Definitely not the best situation for me, but I don't think it's the worst either. I could go for a knockoff play into the Lunala here. That's kind of two cases where I could have just got so much momentum here, but I chose not to. Again, it was like a random deja vu sense. I think I'm going to go for the knockoff into the Lunala and just protect here. Because I think you might want to try to get rid of Venusaur, because you will win the Weather War, and I'd probably lose to the Kyogre if you are able to get rid of Venusaur. So it's always a play for me to knock off the Lunala here. So we will protect our Venusaur. The Shower Ball comes out into the Scrafty. How much is that going to do after Intimidate? Yikes, that does a lot. Oh. But we knock out the Lunala and get rid of it, so Lunala does go down. Okay. Can't remember if it's Goggles. Oh, it's not even Z. Who is the Z? Kyogre? One Incineroar is coming out. Okay. I have to go. I think I have to call a 50-50 here. Or I have to go for a double protect. I guess the question is, do you go for the what do you go for? Do you Gyro Ball the Scrafty? Actually, you should probably just Gyro Ball the Scrafty and Flare, but it's the Venusaur. I think that's your best play. Yeah, I think that's your best play, actually. So I think I have to go for a double protect with Venusaur. Otherwise, my backup plan is literally going for Swords Dance with Groudon until I can maybe catch the Kyogre. So we'll bring out the Groudon right here. Yeah, I think that's the play. So let's see if we get the double. Never get the double, but that's fine. You fake out though. The Venusaur. Gyro Ball. I don't get out Flare Blitzing. Because now I'm in a great spot. I can go for Precipice Blades and pick up a knockout. I think I want to go for Precipice Blades and Sleep Powder Incineroar in case the Stakataka does have Wide Guard. Yeah. It covers like a bunch of things. Also if Kyogre decides to come in here. So we're going to see the Protect from the Stakataka. Okay. And Sleep Powder. We hit one, so that's nice. Also, we don't know if Precipice Blades actually knocks out the Incineroar, so this works out in my favor, I think. We go for Precipice Blades, Stakataka protected. Nice. Does this knock out Incineroar? It doesn't. Okay, so we actually had to hit Sleep Powder there. Did we not activate a Baryon Incineroar either? What is that item? Alright. That works out in our favor. We can go for Precipice Blades here and a Grass Knot. We can't let Stakataka get Trick Room up again. I could have switched out Groudon for positioning with my Kyogre, but I don't think it's worth it. We'll go for the Grass Knot here into the Stakataka. That does so much damage, by the way. And we connect Blades. Wow, we are getting pretty lucky here as we're actually hitting our moves. We do knock out the Stakataka and the Incineroar here. And yeah, that should be good game, I think. Yeah, that should be a good game. I don't think my opponent has a way to come back now. You bring in Kyogre, and then I don't know how fast the Kyogre is, which was like the main part of like why just okay. So the Kyogre, I didn't know if it was either Scarf or if it was a slow variant because my opponent obviously went for the Trick Room here. It had Goggles with Lunala. That's usually indicates that's dedicated to Trick Room, but we had no idea, so I didn't know Groudon was faster. We'll just protect Venusaur and go for the switch into Scrafty because if you knock out Scrafty, I get free switch into Groudon. Venusaur gets to get a Chlorophyll boost up. We go for Grass Knot. That should be a good game. And we should live a Hydro Vortex to protect, I think. If we go for it, but it's just going to be that Water Spout. No surprise there. We'll target down my Pokemon, which is fine because I don't... Oh, actually, maybe I wouldn't have lived the Hydro Vortex to protect. But even if I didn't... with Venusaur, because we still don't know where the Z is. All we know is Life Orb Stakataka. Don't tell me it was Z Incineroar. Don't tell me it was Z Incineroar. We're gonna go Groudon here, and we just Grass Knot and a Rock Tomb here. Even if it's Berry Kyogre, we should still have this game sealed up because I think the only thing that can knock out Venusaur is the Hydro Vortex. I don't even know what that knocks out based off Water Spout in the Sun. Yeah, we'll go for Rock Tomb. I guess if you did have Hydro Vortex, you went for it into the Venusaur. It would have been Scrafty and Groudon, but then again, I just get to click Fake Out and Swords Dance the following turn, so I guess it wouldn't have been that bad of a spot. So we'll go for Grass Knot, we'll go for Rock Tomb into Kyogre. And we'll see how this goes. I just don't think my opponent has a chance to come back. I'm trying to figure out, is there a way my opponent can go back? Blizzard. You need to be Blizzard. You need to hit both. Oh, wow, that did all. Okay, so I think that's Scarf Kyogre. That's just a Frail Kyogre. Water Spout gonna come out. Did nothing. Did nothing. And that was a crit on Groudon. We're gonna go Rock Tomb off. That is gonna be a good game to my opponent. I do think this was a game we shouldn't have won, though. I feel like it was just my opponent messed up that one turn by going for... Fake Out instead of Flare Blitz. I don't get why you don't click Flare Blitz there because even if Groudon comes in, you get a bunch of damage regardless into the Venusaur slot, and I don't. You get to knock on Venusaur if it stays in, right? So I don't really get the Fake Out into Venusaur at all because I think you could have just threatened a knockout there, and if you got it, and also you got damage on the Groudon, which would have been huge as well, I think. because 2 Flare Blitzes might have been able to knock out the Groudon, for instance. So I don't get why you don't just Flare Blitz there, but luckily we were able to pull it through. Again, I don't think it's a game that we should have won. I think it was just something, I think my opponent messed up at the end there, but I think we could have definitely played better. It was just, if you brought Stack Attack out there, I was like, okay, do you actually have, like, I don't know, superpower? Because when I was using this team earlier, when I was testing, I ended up finding a Fighting Stack Attacker that KO'd my Scrafty. I'm like, okay. And it was kind of, like, similar. Like, the position was kind of similar. I'm like, okay, let's not do that again where we lose Scrafty for no reason. So that's the main reason why I switched. It was just a instinct of deja vu, so I was like, I didn't want to repeat that. Losing Reshiram was fine, I think, too, as we were able to get Scrafty in kind of safely once again. So, yeah, definitely, it might not have been the Fighting of Sakataka, but maybe we could have played a bit better. If I knew it wasn't, I'm guessing it didn't have a superpower either, because I think it might have tried to go for superpower in the Scrafty, the chance it had. But, yeah, otherwise, maybe if it isn't superpower, maybe I could have just went for low kick. Maybe I could have just do I fake out? No, I'm trying to think. I think turn 1 was fine. Maybe I had to play better with the, maybe I should have went hard Groudon. Maybe I should have went hard Groudon so I threatened Precipice Place the following turn and not taking my, maybe the Sash on Venusaur was actually pretty important in the end game. So maybe I should have brought Groudon, and even if I had to double out Venusaur, yeah, I had to bring out Groudon and I had to double it out later. I think that would have put me in a better position than just, you know, putting myself in a position where if I go for the double protect and get it, maybe I win this game. But hope everyone enjoyed today's episode of VGC 2019 Baek Battles. If you did enjoy, please leave a like down below, show some support, as well as you can check out the rest of my stuff down below in the description, such as my social media with my Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram accounts, as well as if you do want to go that extra mile, there is my Patreon page link down below. If you want to try out the team, there is a placement of this team in the description down below, along with the playlist of previous episodes if you do want to go see it. And feel free to leave a comment down below as I do try to read them. Otherwise, feel free to leave a like on this video. It really shows your support, especially if you do enjoy this video. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. Have a great day, people. Until we battle again, I'll catch y'all later.